My brother called me spoiled at Cracker Barrel, then my parents revealed a shocking secret. Reddit, I'm writing this from a gas station bathroom somewhere outside Nashville, hiding from my family after the most emotionally devastating lunch of my life. What happened at Cracker Barrel 3 hours ago has left me questioning every family memory I have, and I honestly don't know if we'll ever recover from this. Let me set the scene for you, because the build-up to this disaster started way before we even left home. I'm Emma, 19, home from college for spring break, and my family decided this would be the perfect time for our first road trip in years. The plan was simple: drive from our home in Ohio down to visit my Aunt Sarah in Georgia, stopping at various touristy spots along the way. It was supposed to be this wholesome family bonding experience, the kind of thing you see in commercials with everyone laughing and sharing snacks. The reality was different. My younger brother Jake, who just turned 16, has been in what I can only describe as his too cool for everything phase for the past 2 years. He's tall and lanky with that perfectly messy hair that somehow looks effortless but probably takes him 20 minutes to achieve each morning. Everything about him screams I'm too mature for family activities, from his designer sneakers that cost more than my textbooks to his constant eye rolling at anything our parents suggest. My mom Linda is one of those eternal optimists who believes every family conflict can be solved with enough enthusiasm and the right snacks. She's been planning this trip for months, creating detailed itineraries with color-coded stops and backup restaurant options. She handles stress by over-preparing for everything, which means our minivan looks like we're planning to survive the apocalypse rather than take a 4-day road trip. Dad Robert is more laid back, the type who goes with the flow until he suddenly doesn't. He's been driving for 3 hours straight without complaint, occasionally humming along to his classic rock playlist while Jake makes dramatic sighing noises from the backseat. By 1 p.m., we were somewhere between Cincinnati and Louisville, and everyone was getting hangry. Jake had been complaining about everything for the past hour. The music was too old, the air conditioning was too cold, the road was too bumpy. I could see Dad's knuckles getting white as he gripped the steering wheel. That's when I saw the familiar brown and orange sign rising above the highway like a beacon of comfort food salvation. Oh my gosh, there's a Cracker Barrel. I practically bounced in my seat. Can we please stop there? I haven't been to one since I left for college, and I'm craving their mac and cheese so badly. For context, Cracker Barrel has been my comfort place since I was little. There's something about the rocking chairs on the porch, the old-fashioned candy in the country store, and the predictable menu that has always made me feel safe and happy. During my parents' messy fights when I was in middle school, Mom would sometimes take Jake and me to Cracker Barrel for dinner, and those were some of the few times our family actually felt peaceful. That sounds perfect, sweetheart, Mom said, already reaching for her phone to look up the exit. I could go for some of their biscuits and that honey butter. Seriously? Jake's voice from the backseat was dripping with disdain. Cracker Barrel? That place is so basic. The food tastes like cafeteria slop, and it's full of old people who smell like mothballs. I felt my cheeks burn. It's not basic, Jake. It's comfort food. And there's nothing wrong with. Emma, no offense, but your taste in restaurants is stuck in like 2010. Can't we go somewhere actually good? There's probably a cool local place around here, or at least a Chipotle. Jake, Dad's voice carried a warning tone. What? I'm just saying. Why do we always have to do what Emma wants just because she's home from college? I have to eat this food too. The unfairness of his comment hit me like a slap. Always do what I want? Jake, I've been home for exactly 3 days, and you've gotten to pick where we eat twice already. Yeah, but those were actually good restaurants, not some tourist trap that serves everything with gravy on it. Mom tried to play mediator from the front seat. How about we compromise? We can stop at Cracker Barrel, and Jake, you can just get something simple like chicken tenders if you don't like the other options. Or, Jake continued, clearly not interested in compromise, we could be adventurous and try something new instead of going to the same boring chain restaurant Emma probably went to with Grandma when she was 8. That comment stung more than he probably intended. Grandma Rose had taken me to Cracker Barrel regularly before she passed away when I was 14. Those lunches had been our special thing, just the two of us talking about books and school while sharing a piece of chocolate cake. The fact that Jake was essentially mocking those memories made something twist painfully in my chest. Oh my gosh, there's a Cracker Barrel. I practically bounced in my seat. Can we please stop there? I haven't been to one since I left for college, and I'm craving their mac and cheese so badly. For context, Cracker Barrel has been my comfort place since I was little. There's something about the rocking chairs on the porch, the old-fashioned candy in the country store, and the predictable menu that has always made me feel safe and happy. During my parents' messy fights when I was in middle school, Mom would sometimes take Jake and me to Cracker Barrel for dinner, and those were some of the few times our family actually felt peaceful. That sounds perfect, sweetheart, Mom said, already reaching for her phone to look up the exit. I could go for some of their biscuits and that honey butter. Seriously? Jake's voice from the backseat was dripping with disdain. Cracker Barrel? That place is so basic. The food tastes like cafeteria slop, and it's full of old people who smell like mothballs. I felt my cheeks burn. It's not basic, Jake. It's comfort food. And there's nothing wrong with. Emma, no offense, but your taste in restaurants is stuck in like 2010. Can't we go somewhere actually good? There's probably a cool local place around here, or at least a Chipotle. Jake, Dad's voice carried a warning tone. What? I'm just saying. Why do we always have to do what Emma wants just because she's home from college? I have to eat this food too. The unfairness of his comment hit me like a slap. Always do what I want? Jake, I've been home for exactly 3 days, and you've gotten to pick where we eat twice already. Yeah, but those were actually good restaurants, not some tourist trap that serves everything with gravy on it. Mom tried to play mediator from the front seat. How about we compromise? We can stop at Cracker Barrel, and Jake, you can just get something simple like chicken tenders if you don't like the other options. Or, Jake continued, clearly not interested in compromise, we could be adventurous and try something new instead of going to the same boring chain restaurant Emma probably went to with Grandma when she was 8. That comment stung more than he probably intended. Grandma Rose had taken me to Cracker Barrel regularly before she passed away when I was 14. Those lunches had been our special thing, just the two of us talking about books and school while sharing a piece of chocolate cake. The fact that Jake was essentially mocking those memories made something twist painfully in my chest. That's not the point, Dad. The point is that Emma always gets her way because everyone treats her like she's still 12 years old. The accusation hit me like a bucket of cold water. What is that supposed to mean? Come on, Emma. Ever since you left for college, every time you come home, it's like you're some precious princess who can't be contradicted. Your comfort food, your favorite movies, your need for a family time, everything revolves around keeping Emma happy. I felt my face getting hot. That's not true. Isn't it? When's the last time anyone asked what I wanted to do? When's the last time my preferences mattered as much as yours? Mom and Dad exchanged a look across the table, and something in their expressions made my stomach drop. It was the kind of look that suggested Jake might not be entirely wrong. Jake, Mom said carefully, that's not fair. Emma doesn't get special treatment. Really? Because it sure feels like it from where I'm sitting. Mike returned with our drinks, and the interruption gave me a moment to collect my thoughts. But as I looked around the table at my family, Mom looking uncomfortable, Dad staring at his menu, Jake glaring at his sweet tea like it had personally offended him, I realized that this argument wasn't really about Cracker Barrel at all. Okay, I said quietly, if everyone wants to leave, we can leave. I don't want to ruin lunch for everybody. No, Dad said firmly. We're not leaving. We're going to order food, eat like civilized people, and work this out. But even as he said it, I could see the skepticism in Jake's eyes, and I had a sinking feeling that working this out was going to be a lot more complicated than anyone had anticipated. Mike returned to take our food orders, and the forced politeness we put on for his benefit only made the underlying tension more obvious. I ordered my usual comfort meal, mac and cheese with a side of green beans, while Jake made a point of asking detailed questions about every ingredient in the simplest burger on the menu, as if he was dining at some 5-star establishment instead of a chain restaurant. After Mike left, Dad attempted to restore some normalcy by asking about my classes, but Jake wasn't having it. "See, there it is again," Jake said, stirring his sweet tea aggressively. "Emma's been home for 3 days, and we've already heard about her psychology courses like 10 times. But has anyone asked me about my AP classes? Or the fact that I made varsity tennis?" I stared at him. "Jake, you made varsity? When did that happen?" 2 weeks ago. But you wouldn't know because you were too busy telling everyone about your spring break plans." The guilt hit me immediately. I genuinely hadn't known about the tennis thing, and now I felt like a terrible sister for not asking about his life. "Honey, why didn't you tell us this was bothering you?" Mom asked, reaching across the table toward Jake. "Because every time I try to bring up something that's important to me, the conversation somehow turns back to Emma. It's always been like that." Dad set down his coffee cup with more force than necessary. "Jake, that's not fair. Your mother and I care about both of your achievements equally." "Do you, though?" Jake's voice was getting louder, drawing glances from other diners. "Because I've been keeping track, and Emma gets called at college twice a week. I'm lucky if you guys remember to ask about my day when you get home from work." The accusation hung in the air like smoke. Mom's face went pale, and I could see her doing mental calculations, probably trying to remember the last time she'd given Jake her undivided attention. "That's different," I said weakly. "I'm away at school, so of course they call more often." "Is it different, though? Because even when you're here, everything revolves around what you want to do, where you want to eat, what movies you want to watch. I'm just supposed to go along with whatever Princess Emma decides." "Jake, stop calling me that." "Why?" "Because it's accurate." That's when Mom did something that surprised everyone. She started crying. Not dramatic sobs, but quiet tears that she tried to wipe away before we noticed. "Mom." I reached for her hand, but she pulled away. "I think," she said carefully, "there might be some truth to what Jake is saying." The admission hit the table like a bomb. Dad stared at Mom like she'd just announced she was joining the circus. "Linda, what are you talking about?" Mom took a shaky breath. "Robert, be honest. When Emma calls from college upset about something, don't we drop everything to help her? When she comes home, don't we plan activities around what she enjoys? She's our daughter too. So is Jake. But when's the last time we planned a family activity around something he wanted to do? When's the last time we called him when he was having a hard day, just to check in?" I felt like I was watching my parents' marriage crack open in real time. "Mom, you don't have to. Emma, sweetheart, I love you so much. But Jake is right. We have been treating you differently, and it's not fair to him." Jake looked stunned, like he'd expected to have to fight much harder to be heard. "Why?" he asked quietly. "Why does she get to be the special one?" Mom and Dad exchanged another one of those loaded looks, and I realized there was something they weren't telling us. "There's something you both need to understand," Dad said slowly. "About why we might be more protective of Emma." My stomach dropped. "Protective? What are you talking about?" Mom wiped her eyes and looked directly at me. "Emma, do you remember when you were 4 and you got really sick? You were in the hospital for almost a week." I had vague memories of being in a hospital bed, eating ice chips and watching cartoons, but I'd always assumed it was something minor like pneumonia. "What does that have to do with anything?" "You had bacterial meningitis," Dad said quietly. "For 3 days, the doctors weren't sure if you were going to make it." The restaurant noise faded to background static. "What? We nearly lost you," Mom continued, her voice breaking. "You were so little and so sick, and the doctors kept talking about worst-case scenarios and brain damage, and we were terrified." Jake was staring at our parents like they were strangers. "You never told me any of this." "Because by the time you were old enough to understand, Emma was fine, and we didn't want to scare you." "But I think—" Mom paused, struggling with the words. "I think your father and I never really got over it. The fear of losing her. And maybe we've been overcompensating ever since." I felt like the ground was shifting under me. So you've been treating me like I'm fragile because I was sick when I was 4. Not consciously, Dad said. But looking back, yeah. I think we have been. Every time you were disappointed or upset, we wanted to fix it. Every time you wanted something, we wanted to give it to you. Because for 3 days when you were little, we thought we might never get the chance again. The pieces were clicking into place, all the times my parents had sided with me in sibling arguments, all the times they'd gone out of their way to accommodate my preferences, all the extra phone calls and care packages at college. But what about me? Jake's voice was small now, younger than his 16 years. I'm your kid too. Don't you worry about losing me. Of course we do, Mom said quickly. Jake, we love you just as much. Do you? Because it doesn't feel like it. It feels like you used up all your parenting energy on Emma, and I just get whatever's left over. The truth of his words was devastating. I looked at my brother, really looked at him, and saw years of feeling secondary, overlooked, less important. All because of something that happened before he was even born. Jake, I said, my voice barely audible, I had no idea. I never wanted. I know you didn't, he said, and for the first time all day, he didn't sound angry. Just tired. That's what makes it worse. You don't even realize how different they treat us because to you, it's normal. Mike chose that moment to arrive with our food, creating an awkward pause as he distributed plates around our silent, tear-stained table. The mac and cheese I'd been craving looked completely unappetizing now. I think, Dad said after Mike left, we owe both of you an apology. Jake, you're absolutely right that we haven't been fair. And Emma, we're sorry for putting you in a position where your brother resented you for something that wasn't your fault. So what now? Jake asked, poking at his burger without eating it. Now we do better, Mom said firmly. Starting today, Jake, what do you want to do for the rest of this trip? What would make you excited about our family time together? Jake considered this seriously. There's this really cool music venue in Nashville that I've been wanting to check out. And maybe we could skip some of the touristy stuff and just hang out? Like, actually talk to each other instead of just taking pictures for Facebook. That sounds perfect, I said, meaning it completely. And Emma, Dad said, we're going to stop treating you like you need to be protected from every disappointment. You're 19 years old, not 4, and you can handle whatever life throws at you. I nodded, feeling strangely relieved. Good. Because honestly, all the checking in and accommodating has been kind of exhausting. I never asked to be the delicate flower of the family. Jake actually smiled at that. You're definitely not delicate. Remember when you broke your arm and finished your soccer game before telling anyone? That was different. I didn't want to let the team down. See? That's the real Emma. Not whatever fragile version Mom and Dad have been protecting. We sat there in the aftermath of our explosion, surrounded by comfort food and the gentle sounds of other families enjoying normal meals. But somehow, despite everything that had just happened, I felt closer to my family than I had in years. Can I say something? Jake asked. I actually don't hate Cracker Barrel. The food is fine. I was just mad that nobody asked what I wanted, and I took it out on your favorite place. Jake, you don't have to. No, I want to. Emma, I know these places are important to you because of Grandma Rose. I remember those lunches too, even though I was little. I was just jealous that you had this special thing with her, and I felt left out of that too. The confession broke my heart. Jake, Grandma loved you just as much. She used to tell me all the time how proud she was of your drawing skills. Really? Really? She kept every picture you ever gave her in a special box. I found it when we cleaned out her house. For the first time in hours, Jake's smile reached his eyes. We ended up staying at that Cracker Barrel for almost 2 hours, talking through 15 years of family dynamics over increasingly cold comfort food. It wasn't the cozy family meal I'd originally envisioned, but it was something better, it was real.